By 1961, some 3.5 million East Germans, almost 20% of the country's population, had fled into West Berlin to escape East Germany's communist government. To end this exodus, the East German Army began construction of the Berlin Wall on August 13, 1961, which stood for 28 years as the most visible icon of communist aggression. By 1964, the Berlin Wall had been expanded and fortified by the addition of a second wall. By the time it came down, almost 200 innocent souls died trying to escape. Ronald Reagan was an outspoken, fearless critic whose life was dedicated to the demise of communism and its ugly symbol, the Berlin Wall.
We cannot buy our security, our freedom from the threat of the bomb, by committing an immorality so great as saying to 1 billion human beings now enslaved behind the Iron Curtain, give up your dreams of freedom, because to save our own skins, we're willing to make a deal with your slave masters.
Going beyond the borders of Berlin, deeper into Eastern Europe, in October 1981, President Reagan issued a proclamation dedicated to Hungarian freedom fighters on the 25th anniversary of the Hungarian Revolution. He declared that all Americans should, quote, honor the memory of the brave Hungarian men and women who fought courageously to achieve the realization of their aspirations in the face of overwhelming military force. A year later, in 1982, President Reagan took his message of freedom directly to the members of the British Parliament.
Well, from here, I will go on to Bonn and then Berlin, where there stands a grim symbol of power untamed, the Berlin Wall. That dreadful gray gash across the city is in its third decade. It is the fitting signature of the regime that built it. And a few hundred kilometers behind the Berlin Wall, there is another symbol. In the center of Warsaw, there is a sign that notes the distances to two capitals. In one direction, it points toward Moscow. In the other, it points toward Brussels, headquarters of Western Europe's tangible unity. The marker says that the distances from Warsaw to Moscow and Warsaw to Brussels are equal. The sign makes this point. Poland is not east or west. Poland is at the center of European civilization. It has contributed mightily to that civilization. It is doing so today by being magnificently unreconciled to oppression.
By 1983, since the Soviets had made no effort to comply with the Helsinki Treaty, or any other agreement for that matter, and continued to bolster their armaments in Eastern Europe, President Reagan expanded his message. In simple terms, he took a more direct approach. It's come to be known as the Evil Empire speech.
Let us be aware that while they preach the supremacy of the state, declare its omnipotence over individual man, and predict its eventual domination of all peoples on the earth, they are the focus of evil in the modern world. To ignore the facts of history and the aggressive impulses of an evil empire, to simply call the arms race a giant misunderstanding, and thereby remove yourself from the struggle between right and wrong and good and evil.
President of the Czech Republic, Václav Havel, said the Evil Empire speech provided a compelling example of the, quote, power of words to change history.
Can you think of a time when you heard of a West Berliner jumping over the wall to get into East Berlin? Can you think of a time when someone took a homemade balloon, hot air balloon, and tried to float from free Western Europe into Czechoslovakia? Or when someone took a leaky fishing trawler on a death-defying journey so they could enjoy the freedom of Havana, Cuba? Can you think of a time when any family thirsting for opportunity left a democracy to live in a country that was not free?
By 1987, unimpressed by General Secretary Gorbachev's unfulfilled promises, President Ronald Reagan took matters into his own hands, landing a direct challenge to the Kremlin as he stood before the Brandenburg Gate.
Yet it is here in Berlin where the wall emerges most clearly. Here, cutting across your city, where the news photo and the television screen have imprinted this brutal division of a continent upon the mind of the world. Standing before the Brandenburg Gate, every man is a German, separated from his fellow men. Every man is a Berliner, forced to look upon a scar. We welcome change and openness, for we believe that freedom and security go together, that the advance of human liberty can only strengthen the cause of world peace. There is one sign the Soviets can make that would be unmistakable, that would advance dramatically the cause of freedom and peace. General Secretary Gorbachev, if you seek peace, if you seek prosperity for the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe, if you seek liberalization, come here to this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.